les derniers championnats du monde à Dubaï en 2015. Les Américains s'est imposé 13-7. Début du match en 20 minutes. Beginning of the match in 20 minutes. Si vous voulez vous restaurer ou en avoir dans la grande tente des huîtres fraîches de la région, sont en vente ainsi que des bouteilles de vin blanc. De la bière locale, la Rochelaise.
Welcome back to the World Championships of Beach Ultimate 2017. I'm Liam Grant, joined by Georgina Morrison. We just witnessed a breathtaking women's final. Russia take the win on Universe Point. Georgina, you were doing the colour commentary there. Tell us a little about the final. What were your thoughts?
Well, to be honest, I think a lot of people came into this game thinking US might get a clean sweep, but Russia will work so hard. And they did. They came out with absolute fire. It was 10-6. The score was 10-6. A lot of us thought this game might be over now. USA could have a clean sweep, and it was a game to 11. And Russia just surprised absolutely everyone. They won on a 5-0 point run to take the game, a Universe at 11-10, and absolutely everyone in the stands here was going crazy.
Yeah, fabulous stuff from the Russians. I'm joined by Alisa Tik now, one of the stars of this Russian team. Thanks very much for joining. To give the This game, a bit of context. Let's rewind to Dubai 2015. I know you weren't there, but
Yeah.
the Russian team put up a great battle, losing. Pustevaya going off injured in the latter stages. Heartbreak for the Russian team. You managed to regroup and rebuild. Tell us a little about the preparation for this tournament.
Well, we started early. We started in October, and we were working really hard. We had 3 trainings per week on sand, and 1 more just running on the track. So we were really preparing, working hard, and we didn't expect to get to the finals. We just had to be quite confident to win in all the games. So we tried to work hard and prepare just for every single game.
Great stuff. You may not have thought you were going to get to the finals, but I think everyone else did. We know what a fantastic outfit you are. At the start of that game, there was quite an interesting call. A dropped pull hitting the foot of the Russian handler. How did that affect you mentally?
Well, it was really hard because from the sideline we saw something like it was the touch of the foot, but we didn't know exactly. And when one of the players from US team said that there was a foot, our player was just so nervous. She didn't understand anything in English, so she just was standing there and just not knowing what to do. But then I came and translated what happened. So she said, "Oh yes, I thought it touched my foot." It was really hard to make a turnover at this point because we were losing already 2 points.
Yeah.
So it was really difficult for us, but that's the rule, so we had to do it.
So, looking back, probably the toughest moment, you're 10-6 down after a couple of breaks. What are your captains saying to you? What thoughts are going through your head?
Well, actually, we were really calm. Probably we knew that we have nothing to lose because last time we lost to US also. So we were quite calm. And actually, at the very last point, the players who played the last point didn't know that that was the final point of the game, the universe point. So they were quite risky and calm. And Sasha Pustovaya did this large hug, and our player just caught it after the US defender touched it. So it was really amazing, and no one from the players who were on the field knew that that was the last point. So probably they would play much calmer and less risky.
Yeah, strangely, probably the only people in the stadium who didn't know it was
Yeah,
universe point.
Yeah.
Maybe a good thing, and great for Pustovaya to get that shot again. What does this mean for Russian Ultimate in a whole?
Well, it's a great win because we were working really hard, and on all our competitions we got really higher and higher each year, but we couldn't make it to the last point. But this time we did it, and it's really motivating for us to work harder and work more.
I know you probably want to go celebrate your team, but one last question. I know you're going to be part of the Eurostar Tour going to the US. What are you most looking forward to playing, matching up against?
Well, I have played against Fury and Riot in Lekka in World's Championships between clubs, but I look forward to playing different teams in US as well because I don't know what's their level. I know the level of Fury and Riot is really high, but I don't know the level of other players and other teams, so it would be really interesting to play against each team.
Great. Well, best luck at that. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
We'll let you go celebrate with your team. Have a lovely day. Thank you. I'm going to be joined now by Quinton Roer of the French Open team, who finished in bronze medal. Congratulations, Quinton. What are you most looking forward to in this final?
Against Philippines?
The Open final, USA taking on Great Britain. I know you beat Great Britain earlier on in the tournament. Is that hard to take? Do you feel maybe you could have been in this final?
I think GB is able to win this game because they came stronger and stronger along the competition. And I think when we succeed in beating them, they were not ready to play such a hard game. So I think we can do something today, but it will be very hard for them.
Great. And looking back at that bronze medal game, you played Philippines early on in the tournament, lost by notable margin. I think the score was 11-7. By four, yeah, 11-7 here. What did he change up? What was the difference in that bronze medal game?
I think as a GB we came stronger and stronger along the competition, and we got the way we play is we got 5 guys by line, and we just turn like this, 1 point by 1 point, and so we play 1 point on 3 points, and we were physically ready for the last game. We were better physically to beat Philippines who were not so strong as us because they were not physically ready for this game, and I think they were tired.
How much does this bronze medal mean to French Ultimate in a whole?
In French Ultimate in whole, it's proud I think. It's the first time we made it in the open category. My personal point is I'm proud of it, and I'm proud it is in Royan we have done this.
Yeah, and you should be
France.
proud. That is fantastic stuff. I was talking to the US coach, Brian Jones, who was going up against your game, and he decided that he's going to force you guys backhand, saying that you're a lefty handler.
Yeah.
And I think the first point you go throw a righty hook. You're one of the unique players who's mastered this ambidextrous style of throwing with both hands. Tell us a bit about that, how you learned to do that. And
It's kind of funny because when I started to play, I only had my lefty backhand and my righty forehand. And so when I started to play in competition, I was just like this and nothing on this side. And after I learned to play with my right hand for my backhand.
yeah, you had US Open coach Brian Jones in 6s and 7s. I know you gave him a great game as well. Going into this, what do GB need to do to beat this US team?
I think they have to score the points in offense, and if they succeed in keep the game tight and close to US, they can beat them like Russia did, and USA will maybe do some mistakes if they are close to the score.
Mathieu Bosser was a talisman for this French team. Was it just on the live stream he was playing so well? Was it all week long? Tell us a bit about that man.
No, it's our captain from just this year. He started to play only 4 years ago, and yeah, he's really strong. He lives for ultimate. Every day he train, he throw every day. A lot of physicality, and he's a physio, and he's a passionate, comment dirais? A passionate of ultimate.
Yeah, no, we could definitely see the passion on the live stream, and a joy to commentate your games. We'll let you go celebrate with the rest of your teams now as we get ready for this open final. Thanks very much, Roger.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. So, yeah, you can head up there. So stay tuned for the open final taking place in a couple of minutes. A repeat of 2 years ago in Dubai. GB taking on US men's. I'm joined by some Philippines players here. Thanks very much for coming. I'll give you the microphone here.
Thank you for having us.
Hey, thanks.
Can we get your two names?
I'm Jude.
I'm Dada.
Dada. So guys, the Philippines have always come home with medals at a World Championship Beach Ultimate. This is the first time you haven't. Still the fan favorites. What has changed in the last year? Is everyone else caught up, or what's going on with Filipino Ultimate now?
But a little bit. One, I think being here in Europe is a big disadvantage for us. Like the Europeans are all super max strength when they're here. For us, like we had a lot of visa problems. Our tallest local player couldn't get a visa, so we had a lot of height problems. So, I mean, that causes a little bit of problems. But another big thing is actually right now we're kind of in a turnover. We had 9 new players on the open team, where before everyone from the previous one was pretty much there. It's been like the same players for the last 3, so a lot of inexperience maybe that hurt us also.
Dada, would you like to tell us a bit about that semi-final loss to GB? What was so great about the GB team that were able to take it over the line?
I guess they brought their A game. I don't know, maybe they just played harder the second time around when we played them in round games. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think that's all we have time for. Thanks very much for joining us. I'll be switching over to Evan Lepler and Tom Stiles doing the commentary. Thanks very much, guys, and great performance. It was a joy to watch you play. Have a lovely day.
See you next time.
Right, that's all for me, Liam Grant here. Stay tuned for the open final. Switch camera.
Rematch dans 10 minutes. Beginning of the match in 10 minutes. Je rappelle qu'il s'agit de la deuxième finale de la journée dans la catégorie hommes. Elle verra s'opposer la Grande-Bretagne aux États-Unis. Revanche des championnats du monde de Dubaï il y a 2 ans. Les États-Unis s'est imposé 13-7. N'hésitez pas à aller vous installer en tribune, leur accès est gratuit. A noter que les Français ont fini 3e de cette catégorie hommes. Vous les retrouverez ce soir à la cérémonie de remise des trophées et des médailles. Please remember, if you're not a player of the 2 teams on the field, you can't stay near the field. You have to go in the stands or behind the white lines. Merci de sortir du terrain si vous n'êtes pas un joueur des 2 équipes ou un volontaire travaillant à la table de score. Vous devez aller en tribune ou derrière les rubalises blanches. Beginning of the match in 5 minutes. Début du match dans 5 minutes.
On a glorious Saturday in Royan, the men's championship game is upon us. USA and Great Britain, a rematch of 2 years ago in Dubai, a game the Americans won 13-7. GB hopes to turn the tide. Great Britain, after a slow start to the tournament, has really rallied, winning what has virtually been 6 consecutive knockout games en route to face the Americans in the final. And alongside Tom Stiles, I am Evan Lepler. It is our honor and privilege to have this game for you. Tom, I know you are a proud Brit. What will be the keys for GB to pull off the upset like the Russian women did? There is a bit of a upset feel in the crowd here and energy after what we just saw in the women's final about 30 minutes ago.
Well, the Great Britain side are going to have one big factor on their side, and that is this crowd. The Royan crowd have gathered in their thousands, people from the town, all the players in the tournament around, and they are all going to be cheering for the team in blue. If they can maximize that and build on that energy, then they can have a great game. The other thing I'd say that's really positive about Great Britain coming into this game is the fact that they got their bad performances out of the way at the start of the tournament, and they've been building and rising. Their performance against the Philippines was top class. And if they can build on that, they can use their deep players. They've got some really tall talent in Sam Bowen, Ollie Gordon, people like Magnus Wilson in there as well. If they can use their height as well as the verticals of people like Ashley Yo and Justin Ford, then they have a really good chance of holding back this US on what might be termed upset Saturday.
It could be. It very well could be. USA and Great Britain, the men's final. The Americans trying to complete a 13-0 run to win the tournament. We'll have the opening pull, a look at the rosters, and plenty more to come as our live coverage from Royan continues.
It early. Help us teach kids about cancer symptoms through Ultimate Frisbee clinics. Join us and speak up.
Team USA will start on defense. The Americans winning the flip and choosing the side. They prefer to go downwind at the outset. The wind has become a little bit wonky over the past couple of hours here on the beach. This GB team began the tournament slowly, but has really rallied. If not for a 10-9 win over Belgium in their penultimate game of pool play, they might have missed the top 8 bracket entirely. USA squad led by Mario O'Brien, Jared Inselman, Tyler DiGirolamo. I mean, pick a name and you could consider them a superstar. And for Great Britain, Justin Ford, year in, year out, continues to be an impossible challenge. He's got 19 goals and 25 assists so far in the tournament.
Yeah, Ford is the standout player and has been for a number of years in Great Britain. His ability to get open because of his speed, but also his handling skill, means he's a threat deep, and he's a threat with the disc in his hand as that disc bounces and goes out of the back. Oh, I'm so excited for this game, Evan.
I think you speak for everybody, Tom. Jay Clark's been pulling well throughout the week, and it'll be Jamie Cross walking it up to the front. Ben Funk, an American-born cutter, has been in Britain for nearly 3.5, 4 years now, being chased by Clark downfield. This is Ford with Hatchet on the mark. Matt Parslow to Dom Clark, looking deep for Ford. Hatchet closing fast, but not quickly enough. Justin Ford from Dom Clark to get us started in the men's final.
The perfect beginning for Great Britain. Into the wind, no hesitation from Clark. He knew that combination, the Ford-Clark combo from Clapham. We've seen it so many times. Clark knew Ford was cutting. Ford rises, takes that disc high.
11th assist of the tournament for Dom Clark, who actually missed the first couple of games for Great Britain. And Justin Ford I mean, it's hard to put in perspective just what he has meant to Great Britain Ultimate over the past half decade.
Well, he's been a great player to kick off with, and then gradually he's worked his way into the leadership positions, both at a club level and also at national level, putting together that really strong Dubai side that pushed the USA and got themselves into the final, and again leading this team here.
One of the keys for Brian Jones, the coach of USA, coming into this game was trying to contain Ford and Ashley Yo downfield. A stoppage. Cassidy Rasmussen will send it back. This American O-line has been excellent. Mario O'Brien, Jared Inselman, Tyler DiGirolamo, Peter Pryl, and Cassidy Rasmussen. From a defensive standpoint, GB, Justin Ford said before the game, you know, we know they can make some plays, but let's force them to make the great play. They'll try to make it off the bat, and Rasmussen, the two-handed clap catch, flat-footed in the end zone, a quick equalizer from the Americans.
Impressive handling skill. That disc is so hard to get floating smoothly through this wind. The wind is buffeting across the stands on the far side of the field, and a strong right to left breeze here on the field. It's incredible how they managed to keep the disc so steady, knifing its way into Rasmussen's grasp.
Mario O'Brien, the spirit captain for the United States, he pulled the GB spirit captain aside, Tom Cartwright, before the game and basically said, hey, let's have a good game. If you have any issues, come find me. We'll discuss it. We'll nip anything in the bud. A proactive approach from both teams with the world watching.
Well, the world is indeed watching, Evan. This game is going to be streamed live on the Unilad platform on Facebook. If you're joining us there and you've never seen the sport before, we'll try and get you up to speed with some of the rules as we go.
It's a game to 13. Time cap goes on in 45 minutes. If we reach the 45-minute mark without a winner, you'll add 1 point to the team's higher score, to the higher team score, and we'll play to that destination. Clark looking off Cartwright. This is Ford. The wide mark of A.J. Nelson. Yo connects with Cartwright. So far, both teams impervious to this wind. Gold medal at stake. Yesterday, the natives of France clinched bronze with a win over the Philippines, to the delight of the home fans here on the beach in Royan.
This Great Britain O-line is so strong, taking the 100% options at every pass at the moment. Another call.
A long look from Jamie Cross, and able to find Ashley Yo, who has proven so slippery downfield as a cutter. Tyler Chan trying to stay with him. Impressive patience from GB.
Goes to the dirt, and a little conversation between two players. Oh, the sand socks come off. So he's just asking to a little bit of time and patience while he puts his equipment back on.
Well, certainly one of the stories of the week has been the temperature of the sand. It has cooled off considerably as the week has progressed. Last Sunday and Monday were up near 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and the sand was certainly hotter than that. Several players suffered third, fourth degree burns on their heels. Each team scored very quickly initially. GB holding on to the disc until they don't. Matsuka knocked it down and takes over. Matsuka thrown through the contact, finds Nelson. This is Jonathan Goose Helton. Two Americans laying out. Matsuka floats it to the end zone. An impossible release point, and he connects with Nelson for the score. That's a break for USA going downwind. How about that cheeky toss from Brett Matsuka?
Yeah, it was impressive stuff from Matsuka in the end. The patience from Great Britain all the way up into that wind was steady, but the cut from Clark wasn't spotted early enough by Cartwright, and eventually that disc to him was behind, not able to connect. We see that release behind Clark, stretching the arm back to try and grasp it. Body blow from the USA, but real commitment from both the players there. No hesitation from Matsuka. The high release forehand, one of the trickiest throws, especially downwind.
And you could just tell the mark was not anticipating a release point above his ear. Brett Matsuka did something that you rarely see in the quarterfinal win against Australia. He launched the pull, and then he caught the first throw for a Callahan. It was in the first half against the Australians in the quarterfinals. Peter Pryl deserved plenty of credit for getting down there and stopping the initial first look, and then Matsuka denied the second look with a layout D. He held on for the score. It was his first goal of the tournament in the quarterfinals. And still his only goal for the USA. Strong reach from Funk, keeping it alive. Funk, a Pittsburgh native, very close with Tyler DiGirolamo, member of Team USA, and a Pittsburgh product too. Tom, it's just hard to prepare for the pressure that USA puts out defensively.
Yeah, all of these players have shown at club level that they can work with the best teams in Europe, but it's so infrequently they get to see the big USA players.
This GB team, many members of Clapham, and that disc denied by Jay Clark, who has just been a defensive dynamo for the United States. In the semis against France, he made play after play, and he gets the D at 2-1 here in the final.
A risky disc with this American defense hovering at every opportunity. Strikes that one down. And a chance to break up wind.
Jonathan Nethercutt marked by Tom Abrams. Jared Inselman hits Jack Hatchett. Hatchett bluffs the deep shot. Wynn was racing. Inselman gains more yards to Clark, and he'll fire, and that's too far. Hatchett gives up on it early.
You see the reaction from Wilson. Part relief, part exhaustion as he sees the disc go to ground. He'd been beaten well into that end zone. All the players puffing with exhaustion after this very fast start to this game. Matt Parslow jogs it up to the line.
A couple years ago, USA jumped out to a 3-1 lead in the final. GB tied it up 4-4. It was 7-5 at the half, and then USA ran away with it. A 6-2 run in the second. Tyler DiGirolamo scored the winner in a 13-7 gold medal clinching effort. Asa Wilson and Ashley Yo each had 3 goals for their respective teams in the final in Dubai. Ashley Yo, one of the 9 returning players from that GB team, going for gold again. An ambitious shot. and perhaps overly so. Nothing Ben Funk could do, and you can see the exhaustion.
It's so hard when you know you've got clear separation. Funk in the end zone all by himself, but the disc from Parslow just pushed down into the back of the end zone. It died in the sand ahead of Funk. Nothing he can do.
The two men's finalists had a day off between the semis and the finals. The semi was Thursday afternoon. Here we are on Saturday afternoon. But the schedule through the first 4 or 5 days of the tournament, very much unforgiving. That is a picture-perfect shot from Inselman. Hatchett runs it down. And just like 2 years ago, the Americans ahead 3-1 in the final over GB.
Nothing Great Britain can do. The speed, again, Wilson watches as his American offensive partner sprints into the end zone, getting good separation. Big knock from Parslow. Americans riding that. Shoots into the end zone. Upwind handling. And those who have played will know what a difficult shot that is to keep the disc balanced, curving, picture perfect, exactly as you described it, Evan.
The USA team has encouraged us to talk about the age of Jared Inselman, as he is the eldest member of the squad in his mid-30s, and yet he still might be the best player. Inselman, the product of the University of Pennsylvania, a lengthy career with Raleigh Ring of Fire, and played for Atlanta's Chain Lightning, and moving up to Boston this past year to win a national title with Boston Ironside.
And we saw the way the USA took away the deep options for France. They knew the French were good deep. They made them play lots of discs, and we're seeing a similar situation here with Great Britain forced to take many, many passes.
Certainly part of the strategy that Brian Jones illuminated to his team at the strategy discussion meeting this morning. And that's an unforced error. Cassidy Rasmussen quickly into the end zone on target. And it's Peter Pryl to make it 4-1.
Great Britain heads are dropping. You can see this game slipping out of their hands. Cartwright this time watching the disc die in front of him. Not quite dialed into each other at the moment. And I think Great Britain have called a timeout, have a bit of a chat about what they're doing in this game.
Well, it's so hard to treat this like any other game. If you're a team like GB, you get a shot at the US in a windy type of conditions, an electric crowd, lots of pressure. And Justin Ford before the game said, we've talked about trying to play the game and not the occasion. And sometimes that's really hard to do.
And then you turn and you're deep, or you're under.
We can-
We need to hit some deep shots, okay? The deep shots that we're hitting are ones that we're forced into hitting because we haven't done anything earlier in the point. We have opportunities, let's back ourselves, okay?
Exactly what we were describing there. Not having chance to exploit the deep options because of the US pressure. And I think it was Ashley Yo, we couldn't see who was speaking exactly. I think it was Ashley Yo from The Voice saying we need to take the shots when they're available. We need to back our receivers. And that's exactly how they beat the Philippines. Using their height, using their deep receivers. Players like Sam Bowen, Ollie Gordon, Ashley Yo having huge games against the Philippines to win that one. Get themselves into this position.
GB advancing by the same 10-7 score over both Canada in the quarters and the Philippines in the semis. Ollie Gordon with some heroic work, both defensively and offensively. He looked like a sand monster after that semifinal game for the Brits.
And you can watch that game. It was fully streamed on the fancy.com platform, streaming partner over on pitch 2 and 3. You can sign up to one of their subscriptions and watch all of the games from pitches 2 and 3.
An epic amount of coverage here this week, not just on the show pitch, but on the second and third fields as well. Easily over 100 games featured. Crossfield Scuba will work Ashley Yo. Marked by Walden Nelson. Back to Ford. Nelson on the mark there as well. USA with a junky look initially, and GB can't connect. So close.
It didn't have to be perfect, but it had to be closer to Yo than that. That man can fly, but even he not able to reach the disc. A little bit beyond, rush of blood to the head. Ashley Yo, the diving player there.
Nethercutt marked by Cartwright. Nethercutt has had a scary week. That was a scary throw, but it finds Russell Wynn. Jonathan Nethercutt, like many of the Americans, dealing with blisters on their feet. Jonathan Helton lost it. He thought he was fouled, and it appears there's no contest from Yo. Helton and Nethercutt and Hatchett all missing time. Nethercutt dealing with an infection that gave him a fever north of 103 degrees Fahrenheit. He was not permitted by the training crew to come to the fields one of the days of competition. Great to see him back out there. And the Americans cannot punch it in. There's the first turnover for Team USA. GB trying to counter.
I think that that must have been contested in there, otherwise it would have been a point.
First turn for that USA line on this point, and GB counters. It's Yo going long against Helton. A critical response from Great Britain.
Ashley Yo, second time of asking, deep in the end zone. Crucial point for Great Britain. You see that bid? Camera person was lucky not to receive Ashley Yo's outstretched fist in his face. I'm just trying to see what happened here, because up in this end zone, Yo and Helton bidding on the disc. It was knocked to the ground. You said it was uncontested, but if it was uncontested, surely it would have been a point.
There was a foul. It appeared to be undisputed. They still would need to, a foul in the end zone, they would still need to work it in.
Oh, so it wasn't just strip in the end zone, of course. Yeah, sorry.
Correct.
My bad.
This is Chan. Dangerous pass and tremendous defense. That was Ollie Gordon flying like Superman over the shoulder of O'Brien to come up with a D.
Ollie Gordon doing what he does. The enormous 6'6" figure in the 14 shirt.
Sam Bowen marked by Pryal. Over to Phil Garner. Gordon connects with Bowen. Fun matchup between Pryal and Bowen. And foul was called. It'll come in on 0.
Key moment in the game for Great Britain. Opportunity upwind to break the USA.
USA coach Brian Jones looking on from the far sideline. Taking a chance. Thought I heard a pick call. The disc hits the sand. And it'll be a turnover.
Yeah. "5,000 fans in the stands around this finals pitch at Royan in France, enjoying a spectacle here. USA have got the disc."
Inselman fires. DiGirolamo can't come up with it.
That was a foul call as Ollie Gordon ran over. He body checked the American player in the end zone.
It's a pick before the throw, and in WFDF rules, this will come back it looked like everyone near the disc had stopped, and it was a little surprising to see Inselman unleash it.
I think it might actually be a defensive foul by Ollie Gordon was the call. He knocked straight into Ollie. Wind really bustling around now.
175 grams of plastic through the wind, and the Ultra Star with a mind of its own. Impossible read for DiGirolamo there.
Well, it's a great leveler, the wind. You find the best players sometimes get caught out by a disc that bobbles ahead of them. Your technique has to be spot on to allow for that variation. See which of these two teams can adjust the best.
Open man deep. And Great Britain just not in sync.
The disc from Brooks needed to be better.
It was Garner who had cleared the last line of defense. Mario O'Brien has been a stabilizing force. The men's final capping a long week of battle here on the beaches in Royan. And on the show pitch, a capacity crowd. This win very similar to what we saw in the final in Dubai. O'Brien calling for it, swings it to Pryal. Pryal looked to O'Brien, didn't have it. Tyler Chan hits DiGirolamo. After 4 turnovers, 2 per side, USA scores to go back up by 3.
Great Britain wasting their opportunities up the wind there. USA punished them. They have a 3-point lead and definitely the momentum. Well, we see a huge turnaround already today. The Russians scoring the last 5 points to beat the USA in the women's final. Emotions high.
Still hard to believe.
It was an incredible game. So let's not write off either of these teams. The comeback, Great Britain at the moment are closer. But they need to tidy up some of the offensive mistakes. Their throws into the wind need to be a little bit more solid. We know these players can rise to the occasion, but they're not going to be given too many more opportunities by the USA.
USA had 1 game in the tournament that was closer than a 6-point margin. That was the 1-point win against Spain. USA was down to 12 players of their normal 15-man roster in that game. Ford connects with Parslow. Underneath for Yo. Ford distributes. Parslow again. Over the top, dangerous. One more. Back-to-back scoobers.
Great Britain reaching deep into the toolbox there. Flamboyant play from Parslow and Ford. Fast running from the whole GB side, but they're taking the 100% options until those last 2 champagne celebration. There's the high release. Taken well from Ford. He sends one of his own.
It's critical to release that scuba with the sufficient rotation. Otherwise, in this wind, it becomes a knuckle disc.
Yes, we always practice flutter guts, but we really don't want to see those sorts of discs coming at us in the men's final. World Championships of Beach Ultimate has been an incredible week for all these athletes. Great Britain have had a tricky time of it, losing 3 games on the way to the final.
They lost their opener to Ireland 11-10. Justin Ford said, we just didn't show that it was that important to us. We didn't play for each other. Of course, they got a guy back from injury. Dom Clark showed up this afternoon of the second day of competition, and things have come together in the pool that GB was in, there was incredible parity near the top. The Philippines won the pool, and then France, Germany, Australia, all very tightly packed with GB. DiGirolamo, that cheeky shot will work out. Cassidy Rasmussen wide open. The throw even more impressive from Tyler D.
Oh, that you cannot underestimate quite how difficult that pass is. It was as though there was no wind at all, and it's blowing an absolute gale out here. Rasmussen had the separation. But the disc from Tyler DiGirolamo floated over the head of the fast-chasing Phil Garner. Perfectly caught.
It has been a long road back for Tyler DiGirolamo in the 81 shirt for the United States. Injured for the good part of the last couple of years, battling through multiple different treatments to return to the field. And there was a very scary moment in the USA game against Poland where a Polish player, not in a malicious way, but kind of landed near Tyler's knee. He went down. There was initial fear of a very serious, perhaps a torn ACL. But thankfully, everyone in the USA delegation has praised the training staff throughout the week dealing with the blisters, saying they would not be where they are without the training staff. And Tyler D, after taking a game off, returned to the field one day later.
Dom Clark dealing with a lot of wind out here. It's really blustery.
Looking to go full field across the way. The scuba from Ford is caught by Yo. Almost as if someone had challenged Justin Ford. I bet you won't make that toss in the final with a gold medal on the line. This is Ford again playing catch with Clark. Have to respect that scuba fake. And off the hands of Parslow. Turnover number 8 for Great Britain. And the USA with a chance to take it to half. If they score, they would then receive the very next point. Nethercutt, a sizzling flick. Walden Nelson, one of the late additions to this team when Chris Kocher was no longer available. USA lost Jimmy Mickle as well. Walden Nelson was invited down to Houston for a training weekend with the USA men's team, the Masters team, and the Grandmasters team. And Brian Jones talked about how seamless he fit into the squad.
Amazing take from Ashley Yo. Going backwards, diving, keeping his eyes on the disc, takes the blow on his back and stands up. And you could hear the US players on the sideline shouting, hands high, hands high. They obviously respect that scuba option Parslow and Ford have been throwing. You cannot take anything away from the US. When they have the disc, they've been clinical, upwind, not doing it with one big shot, but doing it with hard running, 7 or 8 passes in. 100%. Great Britain not able to get near them on the defense.
So USA with another break. And now they get to receive at the start of the second half. There's not a long halftime break on the beach. Really keeps the schedule moving. USA now with the task of going upwind. And O'Brien will trot it up to the line. Mario O'Brien, a guy who in some ways is partially responsible for the Russian women. Now, give all the credit to Team Russia, but O'Brien, a guy who has devoted his life to ultimate coaching, running clinics around the world. On the day after the men's final in Dubai, I attended my first Rise Up clinic. and was just overwhelmed by the performance that Rory Titcomb and Mario O'Brien put on for ultimate players from around the world. That's a great D from Great Britain. Tremendous layout from Tom Abrams, and he'll launch long. He wants Sam Bowen, and he's got him.
That is incredible stuff from Abrams, eating up the ground, getting the block, and then sending that inch-perfect disc, trusting the receiver. Bowen rises, grabs high, but they're going to need a lot more like that to get close to this USA team.
Remarkable stuff from Abrams.
As part of the World Games squad and Colombia.
And that disc went up. It looked decent from Rasmussen.
Well, we've seen Abrams get better and better in the UK. For Clapham, he trains so hard. His physical fitness and acceleration has never been in doubt. But his ability to put his body on the line, throw himself at discs, not just on the sand but on the grass as well. They need a lot more like that. They have those players and they can throw those discs. So far, it's just not been happening for them.
USA keeps its O-line out there. O'Brien to DiGirolamo. Remember in the semifinals 2 years ago in this win, O'Brien had multiple full field hucks. Several of them were called back because of calls. That's a nice catch from DiGirolamo.
Again, no mistake from the USA. Even in the wind, and the dust is rising and blowing across our commentary area, causing us to try to pin things down, stop them from blowing away. Precision with the handling skill from the USA.
It's been the story of the week, really. Sometimes the conditions have been calm and tranquil. Other times the breeze have picked up, but USA has been stingy regardless. Tom, what is the recipe for Great Britain?
I don't think you can come down to this one game and point to a solution, because I think the structure, or this team from the USA comes out of a nation which has structures at school level, at college level, and at club level that Great Britain just does not have. So the athletes that the USA have put out here for this World Championships have come from a different system.
Ashley Yo will make the catch. Jack Hatchett, an inch or two short of the D.
We've seen that nice deep shot going up twice now. Great Britain showing that is exactly what they talked about in the huddle earlier, taking their deep options when they're available, trusting their receivers. The athleticism of the USA, the precision of the discs that they've shown. Again, against France, we saw the same thing, not rushing things, not taking risky options, doing it with the feet, doing it with the legs and the speed, grinding out a win.
8-5, it's a game to 13, though we may not get there. We're within 10 minutes of the cap. USA has scored 13 in all 12 games they've played. They have never been timed out. USA's average score for the tournament, 13 to 4.6. So GB's already exceeded that. And Cassidy Rasmussen hauling in the dime of a shot from Jared Inselman. If they can strike that quickly, they'll get to 13 here in the final as well.
Yeah, both teams executing perfect downwind offense, using the deep throws, picking off the targets. Rasmussen had a lot of work to do when that disc went up. Inselman trusting the receiver. See the separation he got from Ollie Gordon, making no mistake with that reception.
Just a majestic shot from Inselman, right on the spot.
If you're enjoying our coverage on Facebook with the Unilad crowd, welcome along. the sport of ultimate frisbee growing all the time. Down here at the World Championships of Beach Ultimates in Royan, France. This is the men's final, USA versus Great Britain.
There were 39 different countries that made it here to the beach. About 1,700 athletes from around the world. Ultimate now with national governing bodies in 75 different nations. Parslow bluffed the high release flick, back to Clark. Cross looking to the end zone, and that was perfect. To the back corner, right where it needed to be.
Really high quality ultimate we're watching now. Both teams completely clean. Low number of passes in the offense, Justin Ford the target. And again, Jamie Cross throwing the hammer. We've had a couple of scubas already. This time it's the upside down disc. High corkscrewing into the end zone and the open, grateful hands of Justin Ford.
GB back within 3.
This is an opportunity for them. They're going to have to find a way of stopping that deep shot. The USA can throw it from pretty much any player on this pitch. Downwind, the problem is not the distance, the problem is keeping the disc in range of the receiver. And that disc just floats outside, giving the USA that extra 10-yard advantage as they bring it to the brick mark, center of the field, 10 yards up from the end zone because the disc didn't land in field.
Goose Helton out there on offense. Peter Pryal is not, looking for DiGirolamo immediately. And that shot from Inselman, certainly not what he was looking to do.
USA, if they're going to give Great Britain the disc the way they've been playing their offense the last couple of points, might be leaving the door open.
That's the 6th turnover for the U.S. Six minutes away from the time cap. GB looking to get within 2. Looking to do it quickly. Hayden Slaughter runs out of room.
And landing on that 3-meter line. That's the line that the players have got to stay behind, just to give you an idea of the scale of Slaughter's bid.
Inselman to Helton. Jonathan Helton, a veteran from Dubai. And Helton shy of the goal line to Rasmussen. Inselman sneaks it in. Another score for Cassidy. That's his 4th goal of the game, 23 in the tournament for the San Francisco Revolver standout Cassidy Rasmussen.
It's great to see some of the top players in the USA coming over here and dominating on the beach, showing why they are the best in the world. That bid from Hayden Slaughter. He wasn't going to give up lightly.
Admire the effort for sure. Helton securing that blading throw from DiGirolamo, and then patient end zone offense. And Rasmussen, who has put himself in the conversation to be one of the top beach players in the world. You know, we've talked about the analogy to tennis. How, yes, guys like Roger Federer and Rafa Nadal and Novak Djokovic and Andy Murray, they are great players regardless of what surface they are. But certainly Federer specializes on the grass at Wimbledon, and Rafa on the clay of Roland Garros. And there are different styles, different players excel. Some are great everywhere. I think everyone has cherished the opportunity to watch the Philippines work on the sand. They seem to defy gravity on this surface, unlike any other country. That was kind of a grass reset there, but it worked to Yo. Every step in the sand, you are sinking in. Scuba over the top. Ford finds Yo again.
The chemistry between those two players is so tight. All the experience they have from playing on Great Britain on the grass last year in London, and their club team Clapham. The understanding between the two of them in evidence there. Yo knows exactly what Ford can do. Makes the cut. Ford, the confidence to know how to throw a flicky little scuba up into the wind, let it carry on the breeze into the hands of Yo.
That's now 4 goals for Yo, 29 on the tournament. That matches his total from 2 years ago in Dubai.
He impressed everybody in London last year with his aerial ability, with his foot speed. He started his ultimate career in Brighton. He's playing with Clapham in London, the top British team. Just landing out.
Well, we know GB is going to need a run of breaks. We saw that down the stretch in the last game.
And the crowd getting involved in this call, they were shouting in. Not sure if anyone down the sideline had a view. You see Dom Clark.
The fans are saying in, but they might not be an impartial source.
I think you can tell from the way they've celebrated the USA points in comparison to how they've celebrated the Great Britain points that the crowd have been anything but impartial. I'd love to see an underdog victory.
O'Brien searching for a reset, sneaks it through to Rasmussen. Past the bidding Abrams. Rasmussen looked off the initial dump. He'll take the hammer. And Pryl, was he in? It was so close. He doesn't know. My first glimpse of it, we were obstructed. I thought he was out, but the replay will tell a better story.
Well, the fans will be watching the big screen behind us. He jumps. And the first point of contact is outside the pitch.
And he certainly was touching dislodged sand when he made the catch, but that sand was not on the ground at the moment. I think it was out of bounds. And Pryl puts the disc down.
It was an impressive bit of athletic skill to bring that disc under control. Tried his best to keep the foot down, but he needed to be in the air to grasp onto it and landed on the tape.
You know, the beach field, and this part of the charm of the game, is somewhat amorphous in its shape and form and size throughout the game. The tape becomes dislodged from its starting spot. It's somewhat sturdy, but certainly not as consistent as a painted line on the grass. Good movement from Great Britain. Looking to inch within 2. Mead, a slicing dime of a flick.
That's a huge point for Great Britain. Up into the wind. Massive score. The whole team getting involved in that. They were patient. And they're back within 2. Opportunity to go back downwind now. See if they can put pressure on this USA offense.
Tom Abrams. He had the great D earlier in the full field shot to Bowen. Some memorable moments for him in this gold medal match. GB has outdone its 2015 performance, in which they fell 13-7.
And the difference between these two sides is very small. We just would like to mention it's the Great Britain Junior Championship going on this weekend in Birmingham. And two of the players on the team for Great Britain of ex-competitors at that championship, James Mead and Tom Cartwright, both coming through the Matt Bevan school.
Well, USA has taken a timeout. The cap did go on, so USA set to receive with a chance to win the gold. It's become a game to 11.
This is a big moment. Do you think they're nervous in there, Evan?
I think those are a lot of guys who have been in this spot before, and that's another luxury of this team. I think they cherish this situation with an opportunity to clinch gold. Great Britain just registered a break. They'll need 3 more in a row. They'll need to replicate.
Well, the crowd and both of these teams will have just witnessed that women's final result.
They'll need to replicate the Russian effort. It was 10-6, which interestingly was the same exact score that the USA women led Russia by before the Russians scored 5 consecutive goals. A wacky ricochet in the final one that Podolskaya caught for the emotional win. GB will put it all on the line. USA has Nethercutt on the field with O'Brien, Helton, Pryal, and Inselman. That disc fumbled but hung on to by Inselman. He'll flip it to Pryal, but there's some dispute as to whether it stayed up. The crowd wanting more ultimate, hoping it was down. Yeah, that hit the ground, dislodged from his hands. This should be incomplete. And the USA perhaps with a look at the big screen monitor off to our right. Uncontested.
It's such a useful thing to have in these big finals. The players able to watch the replay for themselves. I don't think anybody can really call it in real time.
It'd be great. Well, Great Britain turns it over immediately. It'd be great if other sports just let the players look up to the Jumbotron and decide, was it a foul? Was it goaltending? Was it a complete pass? I think the players could decide much quicker than sometimes the referees can. Oh, goodness. Perhaps the USA feeling a sense of nerve. O'Brien fumbled it.
Could we be seeing a repeat of the Russia-USA women's final?
Long way to go. But GB has some momentum. This is Clark to Bowen. Gordon had it in his breadbasket. It was a difficult catch. Another chance for USA, the 4th turnover of this point, which could clinch it for the American men. O'Brien finds Pryal, who got hammered by Clark. He called the foul immediately.
Yeah, Clark bidding for that disc, his momentum taking him to the back of Pryal's legs. Now you're going to see the test of this self-governing. I don't think it is uncontested at the moment. Clark saying he made a bid on the disc and it was his body weight and momentum took him into the back of Pryal's legs.
The reality of this situation, it's inconsequential whether it's contested or uncontested. And perhaps a violation downfield before the disc was tapped back in. The movement began too soon. Can the USA punch this one in and clinch another gold at Beach Worlds? Pryle looking for it. Goose Helton has done it, and the American men have taken gold again. 11-8 over Great Britain.
Incredible performance from the USA. Deserved victory despite a gritty Great Britain performance. They've done well to stay in the game. They've done well to take advantage of when the USA have given them the disc, using their deep players downfield. But the USA's speed, efficiency and athleticism, too much to live with over the course of the 45 minutes. USA take the gold.
The Americans turned it over 9 times in the win. GB 11 turnovers in the loss. And a performance from the Brits that was better than anybody except maybe the Spanish against the Americans. But congratulations to Coach Brian Jones and this USA men's squad. Gold medalists again at WCBU. Pryle to Helton, the game clincher. And this USA men's team was certainly a cut above throughout the week. They finished 13-0 with a point differential of 167 to 63.
It's an exceptional set of stats they've had this week. They really have been a class act. Great Britain knew they were going to have to play the game of their lives. They've been improving all tournament, but even their very best performance of the week was going to come up against a very tough US side in the peak of their abilities.
And we will try to listen in on the post-game spirit circle, one of the coolest elements of the sport of ultimate. Both teams arm in arm after the hard-fought final. Let's see if we can listen in.
Thank you, USA. We talked about trying to take the game away from you in the first 3 points, and you did that to us. I think, to be honest, for the rest of the game, it was a very even matchup. And you just got that early lead. You came out firing. You took advantage of all of the opportunities you had, and you got those breaks in early. And when you played your D-line offense, just the small ball, give go, there wasn't really anything we could do to that. We talked about trying to stop it. We talked about trying to stop your under game the whole game. You were very good at making a deep cut and then still getting the under space. I think when we did stop that, we gave ourselves opportunities to get blocks and opportunities for you guys to throw it too far deep. But in general, I think you were very good at that, and you were the best team that we played getting free on those unders when we were forcing deep as well. So I think we did all we could. I think it was just the start of the game, but you're a deserved champion. So congratulations. Thanks a lot.
Ashley Yo addressing both teams from the British perspective. USA Spirit captain Mario O'Brien has done a lot of the talking this week.
Yeah, thanks for that game. I mean,
Peter Pryle will do it this time.
We traveled so far. The reason you guys traveled so far, right, is to play a game exactly like this. Going up against the best in the world, which you guys clearly are. That was the hardest game I've played in quite some time on the beach or on the grass. You guys gave us everything. I mean, your pulls were awesome every single time, pinning us deep. Your athleticism and your confidence to move the disc, to take the ones that were easy, to grind for the ones that were hard. It was an insane game and an insane fight. So thanks for that. I think in addition to that, not only was the fight was amazing, but I think in a game like this, with all the fans, with a little bit of hype, it's easy to lose sight of what's important in sports, right? And that's the competitive aspect. That's going up against somebody and giving them your best and knowing that you're going to get their best in return, but maintaining that sportsmanship and that spirit. And I thought you guys were exemplary. I think this was, you know, if not the best spirited game that we played so far this tournament, one of the two best. It was a great game. Calls were resolved really quickly. Everybody was, you know, high-fiving the other team after good plays. I thought it was great to see, especially given the stakes. So thanks not only for the great game, but thanks for the great spirit and a great turnout.
Classy words from Ashley Yo and Peter Pryl, speaking respectively on behalf of their teams. And Tom Stiles will jump into the highlights from this men's final, an 11-8 win for Team USA. Put a bow on it for us. USA again, but GB certainly made them work.
Well, I think both captains summing up the game perfectly. It was a tight, hard-fought battle. The USA enjoying being pushed as hard as they were. In the end, though, their precision, their athleticism, just too much. Saw Abrams' huge grab there. They brought their A game, just not quite enough on the day.
Cassidy Rasmussen had so many goals throughout the week, and Peter Pryl dishing the game winner to the veteran, Jonathan Goose Helton, gold medalists both in Dubai and in Royan. Well, after hundreds of games on the beach, there's only one left. The USA mixed final coming up next, USA and Canada. But for now, on behalf of Tom Stiles and our entire crew, Evan Lepler signing off in the men's final. It's USA golden again, 11-8 over Great Britain.